newcomers, which is, normal, obviously, for her first meet. But first up will be Deanna Magro. And, starting with those newcomers, there's got to be a little bit of nerves with the first collegiate meet of their career. So, we'll see how she does.
A lot of similarity between these two teams, the two Maryland teams, I should say. There's 4 total teams here in front of us today, as you can hear a couple of them screaming, walking over to us. But a young gymnastics team, like you said, Lauren, for the Terps, and you can see the similarities on the other side for the wrestlers and the guys. As you see a really nice flip there.
Yeah, so she...
Advantage right now for Michael Beck as we head into the last minute here of the 125.
Yeah, so this last minute you want to just control ties and maintain the match.
On the other side here for the Terps. That's a nice move right there, Lauren.
Yeah, that was another freshman, Kristen Peterman, going up second for the Terps following Deanna Magro's 9.65. I would say that Peterson had a little bit of better landing there, was a little more controlled. You can almost tell she nearly stuck this. So for her first collegiate performance, this is a really, really great showing.
Let's see what the official score, that looks like a 9.7.
Yeah, so she grabbed the 9.
The other side here for the women. What do you think about that, Lauren?
That was their third freshman, Emma Johnson, again with that Yurchenko layout full. I thought it was nice. She had really great body position in the air. She had a small hop and her back leg kind of popped out at the end there. But for her first collegiate showing, again, really great from those 3 freshmen to lead off that Terps lineup.
Definitely seeing a strong start from these young Terps. You see it once again here. Very nice finish there.
Yeah, and to update some scores, again, Deanna.
West Virginia looks like they're about to get going, or actually, it looks like opening round here. Wrap them now over a minute in riding time advantage. So it might as well be a 3-point lead for the redshirt senior as round 1.
So for West Virginia, this is a freshman, Cassidy Cumber, heading out on bars. And West Virginia started out really good. Their first 2 routines were hits. So this is her collegiate debut, so we'll see how she goes along here. West Virginia coming in with a 29th ranking in the preseason poll. So definitely a big matchup for the Terps, but so far this routine's looking good.
Maryland coming in at 37, and Lauren, as you told me before we started, it's the top 36 that qualify for the...
Brockmuller, and she, a senior is a really important person on a team. She's going to provide a lot of experience and confidence, so we'll see what she does for this vault lineup.
You can see her teammates cheering her on here. Everyone really, really excited about this Beauty and the Beast event here at the Xfinity Center.
That was a really, really great vault from her. Her career high is a 9.725, which is a great score, so we'll see what she opened up with this season. I'd say maybe she piked down just a little bit at the end, but other than that, she had great height coming off the table, going into that twist. So if you see right off the table, she's got really, really great height, going really high, and, maybe she would have just straightened out the body position at the end, but other than that, a really, really great vault for her first meet.
Terps looking good starting out here. Strong start from the, Rappa, I should say, collects another takedown.
Yeah, and shooting back over to West Virginia, this is another freshman, Chloe Cucci. So as you can tell, both teams having a lot of new gymnasts putting on these events, and that's definitely big for teams to see how their freshmen are going to compete, sets the tone for the rest of the season. So we will see how Chloe gets along here on bars. A big key for bars is to hit handstands, so you really want to be vertical right on top of the bar whenever you're shooting up there. So far she's done a pretty good job. She made both of her big release moves, so as long as she makes her dismount, this should be a pretty good score for the Mountaineers.
Looking good so far, these freshmen, and for really both teams. Whew.
And she got that stuck dismount, which is very, very important. Stuck dismounts will get you a big point. And another senior, Sarah Fowler here, she was actually named a Big Ten gymnast to watch, so she will be a really strong performer for the Terps this season, and she'll do another Yurchenko full here. With a really, really nice landing, just a small hop back. You can tell she was really excited about it.
You can hear it.
Yeah, team was very excited about it, and just to keep your scores updated, Emily Brockmuller actually topped her career high with a 9.75, so that's a really, really good start for her, and another really consistent, strong vault from Fowler there, and so I would say the Terps are definitely off to a good start here.
Looking good for Maryland. Again,
that rest helped out a lot.
Now under 40 seconds to play here as we Go back to gymnastics. Lauren, what can you tell us about this West Virginia player?
So this is Jordan Gillette. She has been a really consistent worker for the Mountaineers in her whole career. So, one of the other seasoned vets that we've seen so far. A little bit close there. That move's called a ginger. So every gymnast needs a major release move, single bar. So she was a little close. She'll get a little bit of deduction for that. But other than that, she's got really, really great lines, and she's working through this set. But the Mountaineers have been doing great over there. Following, that huge stick from Chloe was probably a big confidence booster. But she really got through the rest of that set. Still a hit, and I think.
And it's going to be Billy Rappo, 10-0, major decision. Terps are up 7-0.
And here, Alicia Farina was another Big Ten gymnast to watch, even though she's a freshman. So yeah, their fourth freshman in that lineup. Made her vault, collegiate debut. Really great, just a kind of a short landing. She had to take that small step forward. But all in all, the Terps went 6 for 6 on vault, and you can't ask for more than that in a first meet. You're really just trying to get those landings, get through it, test the waters, and they did a great job.
Really nice start for the Terps. You can't, like you said, Lauren, you can't ask for any more than 6 for 6.
So both Farina and Fowler posted.
Opponent.
Yeah, so Jared's is built actually quite differently than Prince. He's longer. Prince is a short, stocky guy, but so it should be a different kind of matchup for them.
And back to the other side. West Virginia.
Yeah, so
The bars, so a little error there.
Yeah, so a little slip up. She came up a little bit short. Her hand looks like they slid down. Going after Gillette, who might have had a little bit of a slip up by pulling in on that ginger, your confidence gets shaken up a little bit, but, that's the dismount you want to end with, even with the slip up. Like I said, those dismounts are really the exclamation point.
And Wilding, they're scoreless after round 1. And Bannister will start on the bottom here. Now back to gymnastics. We saw a nice finish there from the Mountaineers.
Yes, that was junior Robin Bernard. She did a Yurchenko layout. She's a very big vaulter, so that'll be a good start for them. And, Sarah Fowler, again, will kick it off for the Terps on bars. Senior with a lot of experience. She's got a career high on bars of 9.85, so she has the potential to score really big here. It's a nice clean handstand to start off. Got a really nice, that move's called a Dikachev, so her single bar release, got that one. She's going to go down to the low bar, nice clean bail. And all she's got left, it looks like, is her dismount, so we'll see her wind up for that and see if she can get a stuck landing here. It's a really, really clean routine.
Nice job there from Fowler, the senior. We've seen the freshman really do a lot of the work for these Terps, but the senior Fowler, nice looking routine there on the bars.
Now on balls for West Virginia, Alexa Goldberg.
We get the replay here.
Yeah, so this will be her transition down to the low bar. She really hits those clean upright handstand positions, so that will be really important for the judges to look at when they're looking for deductions and things like that.
You can see her coach right there just really thrilled that she was able to hit the lower bar there. And once again, we see the dismount and the finish.
Yeah, just a small hop. They'll take a little bit off for that, but, she was really happy with it, and I think the team should be really happy with it, too.
Back the other way to West Virginia.
Yeah, they just wrapped up their second vaulter. And I think we'll be popping over back to bars for Megan McClelland, another returner for the Terps.
As we get a look at what we just missed on the screen.
So that was Alexa Goldberg for the Mountaineers, another one of those Yurchenko fulls. A little pike down, but again, clean for the first meet.
On his feet, but he did a decent job getting out, but holding down wasn't really too good.
As you see,
there's a takedown.
That's a takedown as we go back to gymnastics.
Yeah, so McClellan was, she hit 9.75 3 times last season, which is, means she's a sign of a really consistent competitor. She's got really, really nice handstands. She's hit everything so far, so just with her dismount left, a double layout, and just a small hop. That was awesome. Another really awesome set for the Terps.
Really good looking routine there for Maryland. A strong start, would you say?
Definitely, yeah. And bars is one of those things, it's all about timing and it's all about getting a rhythm down. So if, one person has their rhythm down, it's contagious at this point.
So we get another look. How Maryland excelling at the bars so far. Another look at this final dismount, and she stuck it beautifully.
Yeah, she brought her chest up really nicely, just that small hop back, and that'll just come with time, really finding her air awareness on that. But that's a beautiful set. And West Virginia just had Julia Merwin go on the vault with another Yurchenko layout half. You'll see it here. Another really clean vault for the Mountaineers. It gives a little variety when you don't have every vault that's a Yurchenko layout full.
As we get a look at the scores so far from the vault, anything surprising? Anything jump out to you?
Well, as I might have mentioned earlier, Brockmiller, that 975 is a new career high mark for her. So to open up the season on an event and get a new career high score is huge. It means, you've done a lot of work in the preseason. And those are the scores for West Virginia. As you can see, they had those last two girls that had some slip-ups, a little bit lower scores than you might be used to seeing. But all in all, they had some big scores right off the bat, all in that, 9-7 range.
Back to the bars once again for the Terps.
Nice packed salto down there to the low bar.
Let's see the finish here.
A very difficult dismount with a stick. That was a beautiful, beautiful dismount from Amanda Bertorello. Absolutely gorgeous. It's a very high difficulty dismount, so this routine was, solid all around. That should be a really big score for the Terps.
Get a third and final look at it here. It's the balance and concentration able to stick this landing.
Yeah, tons of air awareness involved in that, but she nailed it.
And not see on your screen, but Alfred Bannister was able to finish off his opponent Corey Wilding 7-3 on the mat for a decision, and that's going to make it 10-5 Maryland. As we head to the 157 with Zach Elvin go in there. Wojciech's 3-2 in duels this season. He's second on the team in terms of overall wins. He's got 13 victories on the year. So the redshirt freshman won as we head back to the bars with the Terps.
Yes, this is Chanel Agaron. She'll be going up next for the Terps. She's already got some really clean lines going. A huge, huge Jaeger to open up that routine. It was very nice. She had really full extension grabbing the bar. Headed down with a pack salto, as we saw earlier from Amanda Portello. Fighting for those handstands, super important, as I said before. So just her dismount left, a double layout. Almost a stick. I saw some feet shuffle in there, but still a very, very clean routine. And again, another hit for the Terps in our first meet, as we talked about on vault. Trying to get 6 for 6 on every event is a huge, huge goal. That is, a really big accomplishment if you can obtain it.
Very few errors, if any, so far for the ladies, and like you've been saying, Lauren, really you can't ask for much more from Maryland at this point. And on the other side for things, you can hear it on the broadcast.
Yes.
West Virginia very happy with their performance so far as well.
Yes, so their final vaulter was Kira Koshinsky. Now she actually does a Yurchenko 1.5, which is one of the few vaults in NCAA gymnastics that is out of a 10.0. So she can get a full perfect 10 on this vault. You can see the stick.
His knees up here. He's getting really worked on top. And riding time is over a minute now, coming up to the close of the first period.
Back to the bars once again for the Terps.
Yes, this is Evelyn Nee. She's gotten through this one so far. I think I saw her clip her feet on the low bar earlier, but she's managed to stay on the bar. She's kept her rhythm going. So as long as she nails this dismount, that'll be yet another hit for the Terps.
Let's see the dismount here, and that looked pretty good.
Made up for it with that stuck landing. And you can tell she was excited about it. She let out a little cheer when she was done.
The dismounts have looked pretty good for the Terps to this point. So we get another look at it here. It's Maryland really dominating the bars so far in this meet. Again, like you said, Lauren, you can just see how happy she is with that performance.
Yeah, these girls, they put in so much work during practice. I mean, you don't see it as if, any other sport would be. So to really come out here and, you get that one chance during a meet to show what you've done. And, when you hit it like that, I can tell you, it's one of the greatest feelings in the world. Now, this was actually the last vault for West Virginia, so my apologies on messing up the lineup there. But, again, another clean, huge vault.
Doing really well on his feet.
Elvin, he is 15-8 on the year. One of the better wrestlers for the midshipmen as we go back to the bars for the Terps.
Yeah, so this is Alicia Farina, which we saw on vault earlier. She is a freshman, so making her second routine of her collegiate debut. And again, that's a sixth amazing set from the Terps. Just a small, tiny hop on that landing, but everything else looked very clean from Farina, and I think she should be happy with that, and the team should be as well.
Yeah, Lauren, you mentioned that little, tiny stutter step at the landing, but other than that, not much to complain about for Maryland with that routine here as we see the dismount once again. See, there's a little hop.
Yeah, she fought for it. She tried to get that stick, but...
So I think the refs, like you said, Chris, probably not going to take a whole lot of chances. If they see something they don't like, they're going to call it immediately.
Absolutely.
As we go back to the bars here for the Terps once again.
So this will be an exhibition routine. So she is not part of the official lineup that the Terps submitted to have compete. She is doing this, to get some practice in front of actual judges, see what the judges will score her, and to get some extra pressure going into competition season. But with a hit dismount here, the Terps can say that they've gone 7 for 7, not just 6 for 6. So it's really good to have people in the background who can fill in if someone were to get hurt, things go down. So having good depth on a team is something that's very important. Clearly, Maryland's showing that they have some extra girls on bars that could fill in if need be, with another hit set.
So would you say to this point, Lauren, Maryland's looking better than the 37th ranked team in the country?
I think so. It also
just
depends.
Initial thoughts.
Oh yeah, I think they look great to go out right now. They're 12 for 12 halfway through.
And now again the scores from the second rotation. It looks like West Virginia has now taken, again, just a slight lead, Lauren.
Yes, like I mentioned earlier, Maryland did come out with a very small lead, and West Virginia had a huge vault rotation. They went 48.975 to Maryland's 48.725 bar score. You can see that's the Maryland breakdown. Some really big scores across the board. You see Agaron with that 9.8. That's a huge score for her coming out at a first meet. A few 9.7s, 9.725s, and a 9.775. That's a really, really great starting lineup. And then this vault score, you see Kira Koshinsky, as I mentioned, the 9.925. Almost a perfect score on her vault. A huge number, and they pulled ahead by just a few tenths. And now we'll go on to the third rotation, starting with Deanna Magron on beam. We saw her on vault earlier. She had a 9.65.
So just a little misstep, it looked like.
Just a little. She kind of checked her landing there as she finished her flight series, but otherwise a clean series for her. Beam is one of those events that's extremely mental, so as long as you can cue in on the mentalness of the event and really get confident and take control of your routine, you should be geared up for some success, despite it being only 4 inches wide.
You can see the concentration on display there from Deanna Magro, I should say.
There's a lot of different elements that go into beam too. They do some tumbling dance turns. She just has her dismount left to go. A round off double full. It's a huge dismount. She took a small step back, but that's a hit beam routine, and hit beam routines sometimes are hard to come across, especially from your first performer. You want to have someone that goes up there, stays on the beam, gets through it to set a good tone for the entire beam lineup.
The other side here is West Virginia. And take us through what we're seeing now, Lauren.
So this is Jordan Gillette. She's their first performer. We're going to have them go simultaneously on beam and floor. They're the longer of the 4 events. They take a little bit longer per routine. So right now, they're showing her first pass, I believe. It was a clean first pass. She actually just fell on her last pass. So West Virginia will start out with a bit of a slower start. But her first pass looked great. And the good thing is that she's getting up and walking off. Always key to have just a nice, safe meet, especially first coming out of the gate.
You can just see it, the disappointment on her face. She really wanted to do better there, but still a lot of time, and West Virginia does hold a lead still overall.
And floor routines are probably the most cardiovascularly challenging event of them all. It's the longest.
Well, I think it's rough. It's
Yep.
rough because, I think it's similar to gymnastics. It's a lot of behind-the-scenes work that nobody really gets to see, and it's disappointing, especially for Uvalde, who's lost two today. But he'll bounce back. He'll get back into the lab, start putting the pieces back to the drawing board and put the pieces together, and everything that matters, it all happens in March.
And Lauren, back to the beam here. Maryland continues to do work.
Yes, Amanda Bertorello, she had a great showing on bars just one rotation before. She made her flight series, as you saw, looking pretty solid so far. There's a standing back pike, a nice unique element to add to a beam routine. It's always nice to do something a little bit different, something that'll catch the judges' eyes.
See a little misstep there.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a baby balance check, but she should still be okay with that dance pass. Here comes her dismount off the side and a stuck landing. Another hit routine for the Terps, moving on through that beam lineup.
Back to the other side, back to the mat with West Virginia with their routine.
Yeah, this is Julia Merwin. We also saw her on vault. First pass looking good. Coming off a routine where someone fell, there's a little bit of added pressure, I would say. Anytime you come after somebody that maybe had a misstep or fell or something like that, there really is a little bit of added incentive for you to make that routine and really get your team back on track. So we'll see how her routine finishes up while
You see the final spinning dismount off the beam for the Terps, and you see that they're all very excited about that finish.
it was a really strong routine for Bertorello. Here goes Merwin for her second pass. A front Rudy, which is a front 1.5 twist. And there we go. There's the Mountaineers' first hit of the day. They're right back on track, so we'll see what they can do with the rest of their lineup.
Good looking routine there from the Mountaineers. Back to the mat now. The 174. We're starting to wrap up match number 2 of the day for the wrestling team. Navy has pulled ahead with an 11-10 advantage off of that decision. Drew Daniels got in the 162 advantage right now for Bernstein as we head back to the other side of the gym.
This is Chloe Clucci for the Mountaineers, a freshman for them, making her first floor debut as a collegiate gymnast. I was reading some things earlier. The Mountaineers head coach Jason Butts really said that they were focusing a lot on their dance and their floor routine. So as you said, they're fun to watch. Floor routines are definitely the crowd-pleasing events of the gymnastics world. So along with those big tumbling passes, we have this nice dance that should go with people's personality, and it gives them a chance to have some fun, interact with the crowd or their teammates that are standing on the sidelines. Could be nerve-wracking for a freshman, but she's doing a great job. She did go out of bounds on her first pass there, as you saw, so that'll be a 1/10 deduction from the judges automatically for stepping outside onto that black part of the mat.
See the finish here.
She had a little bit of a low chest on her landing there, but she did make that second pass. One more to go, I will assume. So she'll keep dancing her way through.
And
That
that
was
time she is able to stick it, it looks like.
Yeah, that was probably her best pass of the routine. She had a really clean landing, really clean lines. Finishes with a nice look at the judges. And moving over to Maryland, this is Dominica Trotter on the beam. She has a career high score of 9.825 on the event. A little bounce check there on that for an aerial. Could be a little first meet jitters, got to get those out of the way. But once you really settle in to your beam routine, it usually helps. Her big flight series, pulls it back, great series. You can always really feel the intensity of a beam routine. I feel as though everyone sort of holds their breath for a little bit while the beam routines go on. It's definitely a very nerve-wracking event, whether you're watching or actually competing.
As we said before, the beam, just a lot of concentration and a pretty simple dismount there, but she stuck it.
Yeah, and she really only had that one balance check as she opened up a routine, so that should be a really strong score there for the Terps.
For Maryland, Evelyn Nee. And on 4 for West Virginia, Alexa Goldberg.
So we have the replay here of the dismount. And again, you've been saying it throughout the day, Lauren. The Terps really can't ask for much more than what we've seen today.
They haven't. They've looked really strong. They definitely have the talent to up their scores as the season goes on. They seem very consistent, very confident, and that's very important kicking off a season, to just have that confidence and that consistency from everyone in your lineup.
Back to the mat here, and it is Bernstein with a clear advantage so far. It's 14-6 over Idris White. Minute 14 remaining here in this second round. As you see the score on your screen here, Navy has pulled ahead 11-10 on that decision last round. Maryland has been leading throughout most of this as they get back to the other side.
You said it was a 1-point match, and it's all those matches that you get a tech fall or a major decision. Those are all going to factor in as we go back to gymnastics.
We have Alexa Goldberg for the Mountaineers, a huge floor worker. She has a career high of 9.95, so almost perfect from Goldberg. She's been a very consistent competitor for the Mountaineers in her whole career. She's a senior, so this is her last season, going into her second pass here. A very unique pass there. I've always loved that pass. I wish I could do it.
So me not knowing too much about gymnastics, are different moves worth more points?
Yes, so everything will have a value. Everything is sort of ranked on a letter basis, A, B, C, D, etc. I think it only goes up to E. And then, certain combinations give you points, and depending on which skills you put together, you will get a start value, hopefully of a 10.0, and that will be your maximum score that you could get on the event.
Gotcha.
So this is Evelyn Nee here on beam for the Terps, looking very solid. And speaking of consistency, like I talked about previously, last season she scored a 9.8 4 times, which is a good sign for consistency and a big score to get over and over again. So we'll see how she opens up this season here. A very strong routine, just that small hop back on a very difficult dismount. So that should be another good score.
Nice looking dismount there. We get another look at it.
Very clean, really nice lines. You can tell she's comfortable on beam. It's something where she feels confident going out there and showing what she's got.
Something I noticed, you can see the judge in the background just smiling. That has to be a good sign.
Definitely a good sign.
Every scoring decision matters, so for White, he's going to have to trim this deficit, get a takedown or two, as riding time is well in favor of Bernstein. So that already working against him. It might as well be a 12-point deficit, as the deficit now climbs to 13 off a takedown as we head back to West Virginia doing their routine. And that looks pretty good, Lauren.
Yes, Zakira Muhammad on the floor for West Virginia. Huge double layout to open up her routine. Now that's one of those more difficult skills that will get her some more bonus points as the judges go to score her routine.
Got it.
Back to the beam once again for the Terps. They've done a pretty good job so far.
Yeah, Chanel Agaron now on the beam. She had a little balance check there out of her flight series, but she recovered and she's moving on quite well. She looks locked in and focused on this routine. an interesting skill there. It's called a side summy, similar to a side aerial, but she obviously landed facing the one judge on the side. Some nice clean leaps from Chanel.
You can see her teammates very excited
Yeah, you can almost
about
feel
Agron's routine.
the tension coming off of those girls in the background. You can tell they're kind of clenching their fists and hoping that she just makes this dismount.
Especially in a match as tight as this, and you love the dismount there. That looked pretty good.
Yeah, nearly stuck. She kind of played it into her throwback, into her celebration. So we'll see how the judges score her on that one. But it was a very clean routine all around, aside from the one balance check she had out of her flight series.
Let's get just another look at it. A little sidestep, but overall, very nice.
Time, so then he gets the tech fall.
Riding time, 4 minutes nearly in favor for Bernstein. Just an all-around dominant victory at the 174, and that's going to push Navy's lead to 6. It's 16-10, and we got 3 wrestlers remaining for both teams as we head back to the other side of the gym. West Virginia continuing their routine.
So we have Kira Koshinsky here on the floor. Again, the gymnast who scored that impressive 9.925 on vault. She will do a very, very large opening pass here. And she stuck it. See, that's something that is a little bit rare actually to see in an opening meet. You worry about controlled landings and things like that, but she didn't even move. She didn't even take the very common step back that you'll see gymnasts take. They'll put one foot behind them to save themselves, but that was, you know, you can't get much cleaner than that out of a double layout as an opening pass.
As you saw the score, it is 16-10 for the Maryland wrestling team, and we go back to gymnastics. The Terps continue to do work on the beam.
Yeah, this is Sarah Fowler. She'll be the anchor for the Terps beam lineup. Has a career high of 9.8. A little bounce check there, but otherwise a very, very clean handspring layout step out. What I've noticed is many of the Terps in their beam lineups have added some extra acrobatic skills to their beam lineups, and I think that's something that judges will really look at and take to as adding a little bit extra to their routines, not just going for the standard, meeting the requirements, and getting on and off the beam. I think it's really important to have those unique elements in a routine like that. So she's looking really good. After that small balance check, she's been extremely, extremely clean. Fowler, that Big Ten gymnast to watch. Has that round off double fold dismount, a small hop. 6 for 6 for the Terps on beam. Again, like I've said.
We've heard a lot of that today, 6
yeah,
for 6, and you
that's
can't ask for more than that.
A very good thing to have gone 6 for 6 on beam. It's a hard task. Being one who has competed beam before, it's a very stressful event. If one person falls, typically you might see someone else fall, and kind of a domino effect with beam because it's so nerve-wracking, but they looked extremely confident, and I think that'll set them up really well for the rest of the season.
Certainly looking good here as we so far. And it will be 2-0 in favor of Navy, with Harmon getting the score there on the takedown. And back to the beam, we see what Maryland's up to.
So this is another one of those exhibition routines I talked about earlier, just for someone to get some more practice in a competition setting. So this is Emily Barockmuller, looking pretty good so far. We haven't seen her major skills yet, but I think they're coming up now. A very nice series there, a front aerial back handspring. It's a more unique series, not the standard, handspring layout step out that you see from a lot of gymnasts. And it's important on those jumps and leaps to have a full 180-degree split, whether you're in, a regular split or a straddle. Really getting that flat line across from toe to toe is very important, and judges will definitely take a look at that.
Dismount looks very nice as well. Good routine.
Yep, and just adding to that depth that the Terps can pull from, going from meet to meet. You never know what can happen in gymnastics, as in any sport. People can go down, and you need to have people that are ready and confident in stepping into someone's place. moving forward. So having Emily hit that routine there is another confidence booster for them, and another hit routine on the afternoon.
As we get another look at the dismount here. Just the concentration and body control, very impressive. Back to the other side of the gym, we now have scores from the third rotation. Maryland seems like they've taken a lead.
Yes, so they had a huge beam rotation, as we noted as we were watching, going 48.775 on beam, with Maryland now taking over with the 146.025 going into that last event. And that's a huge advantage for them going into floor, an event that.
Well, the press announcer, fourth and final event here to the Terps. We saw the scores earlier. Maryland a slight lead going into this fourth and final rotation.
Yeah, so it'll be a tight race to the end for both of these teams. We'll see who can pull out ahead. West Virginia had a couple slip-ups on floor, so they ended up having to count one of their.
The warm-ups are now over for the Terps. And we'll check the score of the balance beam.
Yeah, so as you can see, again, they went 6 for 6, and they all had very solid scores. They got to drop that 9.6, which in anybody else's world would be a good score to keep in terms of not having some lower scores. But they were really able to pull through, get some really high scores on beam, and that's really what put them ahead. As you can see, Kira Koshinsky had that highest score for the Mountaineers with that 9.85. We saw some of her routine earlier. And Megan McClellan will start off the floor rotation for the Terps. I think she's just waiting for the judge's signal here and get the mat set up. The gymnasts are allowed to use a mat on the floor, give them some ankle protection. So they just got to make sure that the edges of the floor are marked on the mat.
Back to the balance beam. It's West Virginia's turn. We saw how well Maryland did on the beam with those scores.
Yeah, and I was peeking over as we were, coming back over with Abby Kaufman going first for the Mountaineers. She actually had a fall on her series, so they're starting out with a routine they will want to drop as the rotation finishes up. But here goes McClellan with her first pass on her floor routine.
And that's nice. You can hear it, how pleased this team is with that.
Exactly, and you can see her landing was very controlled. Controlled landings is key on floor. You want to make it look effortless, even though it's a very hard event on the body in terms of the impact, and those landings can look very heavy if you let them.
Maryland continuing to do work here. That is beautiful.
Yeah, those clean lines, you said it yourself, they're beautiful. Having lines like that is a huge advantage in anything in gymnastics, and she really plays that to her advantage on floor. She's got one more pass to go. Get some dance in to get some last deep breaths before this last pass to bring it home. She'll end with a 1.5 punch layout and another super clean landing. This is a very good leadoff routine for the Terps. And you can hear it all through the arena. Everybody loved that set.
Great way to set the tone for the Terps.
As a wrestler, as a fan looking in on this, it looked like she was just having fun out there. It was so much fun for her.
Exactly, and like I said, with those clean landings, it makes tumbling look easy. It looks effortless for Megan. So to have that effect on spectators is definitely what you want, because the judges are going to notice that as well.
So we got a final look at that here. Let's finish it off. Can't ask for much more than that.
She got a big smile to finish it off. We'll go back over to beam. Alexa Goldberg on the beam, trying to come back from a missed first set from the Mountaineers. Goldberg's a strong beam worker, as she is in every other event. She competes in the all-around for the Mountaineers. She actually did not compete bars today. She was originally supposed to be in the lineup, but I believe she got taken out. But she hit that set for the Mountaineers, got them back on track.
Clean dismount there, and they got to be very happy about that.
Yeah, definitely important to hit the routine after, someone might fall. Really come back and reset the tone for the lineup as it goes on.
Back to the men here. Or maybe not. We'll see. Maryland still continuing their fourth and final rotation here. See a slight pause in the action.
Yeah, they aren't showing it now, but they're just trying to fix those mats as I talked about earlier.
1 point advantage as we get towards the end of round 2 at the 197.
He's in a okay spot right now. It's a tight match, and I told him, I said at the beginning that he was going to have his hands full, but we'll see what happens over here.
So this is Dominika Trotter on the floor. She actually has not competed on floor since 2015. Last season she competed on some other events but didn't see floor action, so kind of a re-debut for her. Makes her first pass. She's looking good so far.
You got this, Lee.
Ended up putting her hands down on that double pike. So that routine, she'll get a 5/10 deduction for that fall, and this will be the routine that the Terps will look to drop when the lineup is all done with. She still does have one more pass though, so look to kind of take some deep breaths and get geared up for that last pass. End it on a good note, put a good exclamation point on the routine.
How hard is it to recover from something like that?
I think it's a lot of mentalness. She knows she can make the routine. As we've talked about practices, what you don't see on our streams. They practice these routines so many times, so it's of course discouraging to fall during a routine, but it's all about building that confidence back up, telling yourself that you can do it, and as she did, going out there and just getting a clean last pass to save as many tenths as you can.
It seems like you almost want to just forget about it, move on as quickly as possible.
Exactly, that's exactly what you want to do. You want to kind of turn it around as quick as you can. Remember that there's still time left in the routine. There's still things you have to do that are going to get you points, and you don't know what the other team is doing necessarily, so you try to save as many tenths as you can, because a gymnastics meet can come down to quarter tenths, half tenths. So anything you can save is great, and she did a great job of that.
Cervantes, 13-6 on the year. The junior, one of the better wrestlers for the Michigan. It's now up to 5-2 as we head towards the final minute before we hit the heavyweights. And they're going to give Whistler the escape there. What have you seen from Whistler so far in this second match today compared to how we saw him earlier today?
I think it's a little slower pace than what we saw before. He's doing a good job. He still has plenty of time to get a takedown, and riding time's not a factor right now, so he's got plenty of time.
Back on the balance beam, here's West Virginia's chance to make up some of this deficit.
Yeah, Cassidy Cumber on the beam. She had a really, really nice, solid landing beam flight series. So that was something refreshing to see. There was no wobbles of any kind. That's the kind of routine you're going to want to put back on after maybe some early missteps.
We don't get to see the dismount.
She did make it, though, just a small step. So that's a great routine for the Mountaineers to add to their lineup.
Back to the mat. Here's Maryland.
Leah Slobodin will be on the floor. She has a career high of 9.825. So potential for big scoring here. She's got some nice upbeat music. It's always fun. You can tell the crowd really likes it. You got some people dancing in their seats. A huge first pass, had a nice controlled landing, high difficulty, and something different. You see a lot of people go for the, double pike, something like that, but having a nice front twisting opener is something different, and the judges will really take note of that.
Wow.
Very clean. 1.5 punch layout is that second pass. You can hear the girls on the sidelines getting into the routine. Even as a teammate, just watching my other teammates' floor routines was probably some of the most fun I had in college.
Right.
You get to know basically everyone's routine from start to finish, so you can probably see some of the girls dancing on the side. It's just a really good time, and especially when you're the home team, you get to end the meet with a floor rotation, and everyone's just having a good time. The crowd likes it, as we've said. And she makes her last pass, that Rudy, she nails. 3 clean landings and another hit routine, so they're really making up from that early misstep.
And even if you know nothing about gymnastics, you just have to appreciate the support these teams give each other. You can hear it. Just see these teams how much they really care and how passionate they are for their teammates.
Yeah, and wrestling and gymnastics alike, it's interesting to have individuals going, but for a team purpose. It's not like football when you have an offensive line out there all working together at one time. It's one person that's building one after the other. So it's important to have that support, I think, behind your teammates.
I think that's what makes this event so good is that there's two sports that are individual but a team, and then you get the male version of it, then you get the female version of it, you bring it together, and you get a bunch of fans out here. It's a really fun time for all these guys.
Exactly, I agree.
The Beauty and the Beast event certainly does bring a lot of fans, as we have a pretty great crowd for a Sunday afternoon when there's NFL football on. So have to be impressed with the Xfinity Center crowd here today as we see West Virginia finishing off the balance beam.
This again is Kira Koshinsky, who we've talked about plenty of times, and I'm sure you will hear about her plenty of times throughout the NCAA season. She's a great all-around gymnast. She didn't see bars action today, but a huge round-off double-back dismount with just a step. In time, she'll just learn to control that. Huge score for them. Huge skill as well. Amanda Bertorello now on the floor for Maryland. Opening up with a big, clean double pike. Throwing a little smile at the judges.
Well, that's impressive.
Yeah, she kind of inched close to that line, but she had really good air awareness, body awareness. She was able to kind of hop back away from it to make sure she didn't get that 10th deduction. Amanda being one of the taller gymnasts at 5'7", which to many people might not sound tall, but being one of the taller gymnasts, she really uses her lines and her long legs to her advantage in her dance. It looks very nice. She makes her third pass maybe a little bit low with the chest, but a solid routine and a hit for her first meet of this season.
Wow.
Again, big cheers from the team, from the crowd. Terps just keep on rolling. They got a couple more routines left before their first meet of the season is capped off.
Fantastic display from her. So we get another look.
And she's had a great afternoon as well. We saw her on bars and beam, where she got a 9.725 on bars and a 9.6 on beam. So a great afternoon for Amanda.
And back to the beam now with West Virginia.
Yeah, Jordan Gillette on the beam. She was the one who had the fall on floor. So good to see her back on her feet, making sure she can do another event. Catching the end of her routine here. Ooh, with a step dismount. That was very nice. Great to rebound from a hard event, as we've talked about. If you fall, it is hard, especially when you have a whole other event to do, but that mentality of saying, I have another event, I still need to contribute to my team, is something that people always...
Of the heavyweights, round two, I should say, of the heavyweights, we head back the other way to gymnastics as Maryland finishes off rotation 4.
Emily Brockmuller, who we saw on vault, and she exhibitioned on beam. Opening up with a big double pike, a nice landing. Her chest was nice and high, which is important.
You can see her teammates almost looks like they're doing the routine with her. That's how you know these teams, they have great chemistry, don't they?
They do. They spend so many hours together as any collegiate team. So, like I said, you end up knowing everybody. You do them so many times, and nothing is like a collegiate floor routine. So it's fun to do it along with your teammates, and everybody gets into it.
Definitely no exception here today, as really both teams' display of support and just sportsmanship has been really incredible to watch.
Getting set up for her last pass. She's been very clean thus far. Let's see if she can wrap it up with a big last pass. And she nails it. Terps really have the Xfinity Center hyped up. They're really buying into these floor routines, and I think that also helps the gymnasts too. When the crowd's into it and the team's into it, you know, it's kind of goes both ways.
And that's exactly how you want to finish it out.
Yeah, that nice high chest is something that you might not see from everybody, but it's very important. It's very easy to kind of spot the ground and just leave your chest down, but really pulling it up makes it look like a nice clean pass. Ooh, another stuck dismount for the Mountaineers. Coming from...
Advantage for Anita going into the third and final round as Maryland will fall to Navy for the second loss today. The gymnastics team, they have a chance to get a huge opening victory against the Mountaineers.
Alicia Farina will close out the Terps floor lineup, a freshman. Now that was definitely an extremely good landing for her. The freshman, this is her third event of the day. She had a 9.725 on vault and a 9.7 on bars, so we'll see if she can round out a very good opening collegiate meet for her career. Nice 1.5 layout. We've seen a few of those from the Terps, all very clean, controlled.
Small thing I'm just taking notice of is their breathing. I think I think their breathing is a big part of, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, especially on floor. Like I said, it's very cardiovascular intensive. So a lot of the teams and the girls will choreograph their routines to include some, you know, maybe slower sections where they can catch their breath a little bit. I guess you could say if you're going to talk strategy, there are a couple strategies. I've seen girls go back-to-back passes. They do one, turn around, and do the other one. But she chose to kind of even them out to get some breathing, and she, you know, put her hands down on that last pass.
Terps team as we await on the score for the gymnastics meet. Now, Lauren, what are some things that you like from Maryland today?
Overall, they had an amazing day. Not 24 for 24, but it was their first meet of the season. Their first 3 events were amazing. I saw so much potential. Like I said, they have the talent, they have the skills, they even have the depth in their